All right, writing your book. So you got your plan. You know your book now. You know your plan. Now let's talk about what actually happens when you go home and you follow this plan and you sit down and you put your hands on the keyboard. What happens then? First thing I want to tell you is I want to tell you to ignore any writing advice you've heard previously. Chances are it's fucking terrible. Most writing advice is really, it's about impressing other writers. It's not about helping the reader. I tell you this as someone who has read every goddamn writing book there is, from Bird by Bird, which is fucking terrible. I think it's one of the worst books of writing advice, especially for first-time authors, that exists. Or Stephen King's book, which is fine, but there's a lot of problems with that. Or Ray Bradbury, I go down the list of them. Most of them, even if they're good books, do not have good writing advice, okay? So I'm gonna walk you through what we have, the way we tell you to write. I'm only basing this off helping thousands of people actually get through this process and actually finish and publish their books. That's it, okay? All right, good. So the super important first thing, give yourself permission to write a mediocre first draft. That is, you need to leave here not worried about, oh my God, this first draft's gotta be good. No. You gotta tell yourself, it can be shitty. It can be, forget mediocre. Really, if you give yourself permission to write a shitty first draft, that's even better, right? Now, how do you do that? Because it sounds easy to say, oh yeah, I give myself permission, but then when you sit down to write and you get anxious and you get freaked out, it's like it becomes a different thing. I'll tell you what we recommend. That's why we actually call your first draft a vomit draft. Why do we call it a vomit draft? Because no one cares about looking beautiful when they vomit, they just want to get it out, right? And the only way to get it out is to force it out through the pain. And even better is, this is vomiting by yourself. No one's gonna see this vomit draft. It's only for you, so you can just hold your hair back and scream out the vomit, meaning writing, and it's fine. Because what that does is it gets the book out of you, which is the most important thing for the first draft. Does all make sense? All right, good. The thing to keep in mind, just like vomiting, for the vomit draft, done is better than good. There's no good way to vomit. There's no good way to get through your first draft. Just get it done. All right. This means this is the key thing. This means not stopping or editing as you write. For real. Do not stop. Do not edit. Keep going until it's out. In fact, I want you guys, literally, say this out loud. I will not read or edit my first draft until it's done. Exactly. Now, what's going to happen is listen to this. You are going to be writing your book, your vomit draft. You are going to do something you hate. You're going to be just like, oh God, this is awful. Like you're almost recoiling writing it yourself, okay? That will happen. It's a vomit draft. What do you do then? That's future Tucker's problem. Or I would insert your name because it's not my problem, it's your problem. But when you write something you think is terrible, say that's future Mark's problem or that's future Jenny's problem. I mean, seriously, that is not your problem now. You will deal with that later. Does all make sense? All right, good. Excellent. So let's talk about writing principles now. This is just a few principles I want you to keep in mind as you're writing. First one. I sent all of these to you they're in the workbook, and I also sent them in the reading. Let's just go over them real quick. Make it short. The shorter you're writing, the better. Make it simple. The simpler, the better. Make it direct. Make it about the reader, right? Why? Because when you're forced to be simple, you have to face the real problem, right? When you can't deliver ornament, you have to deliver substance, and that is what your readers want. Substance. Make sense? Okay, good. Now, next question. Should you write sequentially? Meaning, start with chapter 1, chapter 2, et cetera, et cetera. You can, yes, you can, unless you want to do it differently. There absolutely are people who like writing sequentially. There are other people who just want to skip around. I don't care, whatever works. There is no right way here. The right way is the way that gets you through your vomit draft. Make sense? All right, good. Next one is finding your voice. This is a question we get from a lot of authors. How do I find my voice? I always like to joke that you should look behind the sofa, which is obnoxious, right? Because you're not going to find it back there, but that's kind of the point, that you can't find your voice. Your voice is who you are. It's the way you live. It is in you, right? So, but a lot of people still but they get anxious. This is kind of a fear thing. It's a way of kind of dealing with fear. So let me walk you through there's 2 frames that we use to help you figure out what your voice is. First one is a conversation with a friend, where you're teaching them what you know. So imagine you're literally sitting there with a friend and you're teaching them exactly what it is you know in your book. Like, how would you say it? Literally, what would you say? If you write like that, you're gonna be good. The other frame, helping someone heal pain that you had solved, right? Do those voice frames sound familiar? Exactly, they're the same things we talked about in the avatar and the audience stuff, right? Because again, who's the book for? It's for your reader. Okay, cool. Don't worry. Now, here's the thing. If you don't worry about being a writer and you just help people, your voice will take care of itself. It really is that simple. I promise you. If you are skeptical about this, that's cool. I get it. I've only helped thousands of people to this exact problem. But try it. Just go home. If you can't find your voice, imagine yourself talking to someone directly in front of you who needs your help. It's pretty simple. Okay, how long should your book be? Your book should be as short as possible without leaving anything out. Because to us, good writing uses the minimum words for the maximum expression. Make sense? Now, I know some people like numbers, so here's what I would tell you if you want numbers. I would aim for somewhere between 100 to 199 pages, which is about 20 to 40,000 words. Now, here's why. Under 100 pages, it's not bad. It doesn't mean your book's fucked. It just means that you're gonna see slightly decreased sales because a lot of people have a perception of value of a book where if there's 2 digits in the page length, it's like a decreased perception of value. It's irrational, it's true. And then the reason that 199 is a good upper limit goal is when people start to see a 2, then it becomes intimidating because it's a big investment. Which remember, it's never money for books. What are people intimidated about investing? Time, of course. Now, if you go over 200, it's fine. And if you're under 100, it's fine. And if you have 45,000 or 18,000, it's fine. It's no big deal. But if you want something to aim at, these are what you should be aiming at.